So today I wanted to talk to you guys about this game I have found called Strange Brigade. It's a game made by Rebellion, the developers who made the Sniper Elite series, and honestly, it's a very fun game. But I hadn't heard of it before I saw it on Steam. And even when I saw it on Steam, the Steam page looked like this, as I'll show you now on the screen. It just doesn't show you what the game is actually like, because the game is a very kind of silly and playful game. This Steam page makes it look very serious, or at least semi-serious, but it's just not. So a lot of the fun from this game just comes from how it doesn't take itself seriously, and it has more fun with the ideas that it has going. I recently bought this game because it was 90% off, and I thought, why not? It was a couple quid, and it's from a developer I liked. And when I did that, I didn't realise it was DLC, so for this video I will not be covering the DLC. If people are interested in this video, I might do one about the DLC at a different time when I do actually get the DLC to give it a go. So let's talk about what's good with the game. First is how it runs. The game runs on the same engine as Sniper Elite, and it's just so smooth. It looks great as well. The engine's great. It runs really smoothly, loading times are short. It also lets you use Vulkan instead of DirectX, which just results in a much higher frame rate. It's the only game I've played so far that lets you do that, and it is amazing. It's amazing. I can run the game with a solid 144 frames per second. I cap it at that because that's my refresh rate on my screen. I'm sure I could run it higher if I wanted to, but I don't, and that's on max graphics, and usually a lot of games I struggle to get anywhere near that because I run quite old hardware. I haven't bought new hardware in years, but this game ran really well. This game also seems to be bug-free. I'm sure someone at some point will encounter a bug, but I didn't encounter any bugs in over 50 hours of gameplay, not even really small ones. It's really good for a game that's made in 2018. You usually see bugs in games like that, but I didn't see any. So let's talk about what's good with the design. Now, the environments look amazing. The environments just have this incredible look to them. A similar thing which you see in other Rebellion games, like Sniper Elite. There's also puzzles all over every level, and these are all usually in hidden areas, which gives this feeling of exploration to a game which is actually rather linear. This personally I think is quite nice because making linear games feel more open than they actually are is something which was kind of lost. I feel like that was quite big in PS2 games and that sort of era of gaming, and it brought back some memories of that sort of era of gaming, and that was very nice for me. The gunplay is very smooth and enjoyable, which is not surprising because it shares the gunplay from Sniper Elite, and there is a good variety of enemies to fight. And these enemies are introduced with their own cutscenes to show you what they are, and you get a good feel for what they'll do and how they'll fight from these cutscenes, and really they all feel well balanced and fun to fight against, and they're introduced in a well-paced manner throughout the entire game. There's also a narrator, who personally I love. I think he did a great job in this role. It makes the game quite light-hearted and fun to have a narrator like this. You can hear him in the background of this footage. I think he did a great job. Now, there's more than just the story mode, there's also a horde mode. The horde mode is kind of what you expect from a horde mode. It's similar to perhaps the COD Zombies mode. We can spend money to open rooms, get money from killing enemies, and you can also buy weapons. So it's fairly standard for a horde mode, but it's enjoyable. There's also a score mode where they set out challenges where you got to go through an area as fast as you can, killing all the enemies to get the highest score possible. The faster you do it, the more score you get, basically. It's quite fun. So let's talk about what's bad about the game, because there are some bad things. So it can get repetitive sometimes. The boss battles at the end of the levels feel quite samey, and sometimes they do even reuse the bosses, which I personally don't enjoy too much. I would have personally enjoyed a bit more variety. There's also little replay value in this game. Now, I've played through the game on normal difficulty, then I did on the hardest difficulty, and I also did some achievement stuff, and that gave me a bit over 50 hours of gameplay, around about 50 hours, and it was enjoyable, but I don't really see any point of playing anymore. It does end there. Of course there's DLC, but I have not played, so I cannot comment on that. However, the base game, if you want to get all the achievements, do a couple of runs, it will give you about 50 hours. Now, there's also an issue with the number of weapons. There isn't that many weapons in the game. I think they tried to address this by adding loads of DLC, but If you don't have the DLC, then you don't have many weapons. What will end up happening is you'll pick a weapon that you like, and you'll stick to it all game. Usually I like swapping between weapons and just mixing up my playstyle quite a lot in a lot of games, but in this game you just pick a weapon. There's just a few which are good and a few which are bad, and you'll stick to your one weapon really, which is unfortunate. The characters personally I think could have been done better. I was personally disappointed with how Gracie was done, Gracie being a character from the north of England, who is a factory worker, and I expected more from that sort of character. I'm from the north of England, so I was excited to play as her. I picked her as soon as I opened the game. That was the first character I played as, and she ended up being more of a caricature of what a northern woman is, and felt very forced, so it was quite disappointing for it to be like that, and I swapped to a different character very shortly after, because she was, to simply put it, quite annoying. Maybe it won't be so bad for someone who doesn't live in the north, but when you know what people are like around here, when you are a northerner, you see someone trying to represent one and it just feels forced. It's awful. There's also the problem of price with this game. The game costs about £40, which is too much. And that £40 does not include the DLC. So what's my overall verdict to this game? It'd be that it's definitely worth getting if it's on sale. I would have loved to have played it with other people as well. I unfortunately don't know anyone who actually has this game, because this game is fairly unheard of. I asked a few other people and they'd never heard of it. They'd heard of Rebellion's other games like Sniper Elite, but they had not heard of this one, so it's just unfortunate that I didn't get a chance to play it co-op. Either way, that's my verdict. If it's on sale, give it a go. And maybe even get the DLC, if it is also on sale. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time, and don't know what type of video it'll be, but I'm sure it'll be at least semi-decent. Goodbye.